Hello and welcome to Construction Wolf. Today we're quite excited, Wolf, aren't we? We've got the first ever LEGO Legend of Zelda set here. So this is the Deku Tree 2-in-1 set and 2,500 pieces, and it costs us £260, so it's quite expensive. We got it from the LEGO store, like the beginning of September on our LEGO store trip you may have seen. And if we flip it over here, you'll see it's got a really impressive range of minifigures in it, which we'll look at once we've built the set. And as I mentioned, it's a 2-in-1 set here. So this is the Deku Tree from the Breath of the Wild from 2017. So you can build that one, or if we flip this box around here, Wolf, let's have a look here. Then we've got the Deku Tree from the Ocarina of Time, which was from 1998. That's my favourite game of all time, so I think that's one I'm going to build. So shall we get in the box and see what's inside? So this box is actually different, where I think it's the lid lifts off this time. You see seals all around the side, it's not just one side and flap opens. Let's dive in then. There's a lot of seals to cut here. Oh, that's that one. And the final seal. Right, excited to open this now. So here's all the bags out on the table then. So there's 23 in total, and there's the start of bag one. You see you start getting minifigures straight away, which is good. And we just have a quick pan around. You see they're all like only one of each bag, where some sets have like 2 bag 18s, etc. I guess with bag 18 you'll only ever use that if you're building the Breath of the Wild sets. It'll be interesting what pieces left over depending on what set you build. And then you get a bag of plate and then a very thick instruction book, and no stickers. I thought it'd be interesting to have a quick look at the manual. So as I mentioned, no stickers. So for the price of the set, you'd hope that as well. All print, that's good to hear. So let's flick through. Then we've got a bit about each game. We've got the Ocarina of Time there and the actual Breath of the Wild. So some of the artwork from the games. That's what the Deku Tree looked like in the Ocarina of Time. And then that's the one from the Breath of the Wild. So you can see they sort of resemble relatively well how they look in LEGO. And then a bit about each of the minifigures. So they've done a good job representing how they looked in the game. And this is the actual bit on the sets themselves there, and you can see actually there are some play features where the mouth does open and something else happens there. We'll look at it when it's built. And then I'm not going to build this one yet, but this is the Breath of the Wild one. You can see actually the mouth and the eyebrows do move if you move a lever on the back, so cool play features there. Then you start off obviously on bag one, but I've had a flip through to see where it diverges, and actually you don't make a choice to which one to pick until you've got to the end of bag 8, so quite a way through the manual. So they all share the same common base like so, and then at this point it diverges. You can either pick that one or that one. If you pick that one you go to that page, and if you pick this one you jump to that page, then it diverges. So that's an interesting fact. I thought it diverged like straight away. The first one we built was the Ocarina of Time Child Link minifigure you see there. But then as always we get the actual Construction Wolf to start off the set overall. So let me help you with that little piece. Well done, Wolf. So me and the Wolf are going to try and power through this now because there's a lot to build, and it'd be interesting to see actually what pieces are left over after the build we've picked, and we'll make a note of any sort of interesting building techniques as we go along, and for you it'd be a matter of moments, so let's scroll to the end. It's taken a few weeks, but finally I've managed to finish the Deku Tree then. Just had a variety of different projects and work and things going on, but quite happy with the results here. You can see it's quite, compared to me, it's quite a sizable set. Even seeing the LEGO store, sort of behind the sort of perspex, it looked quite decent size, but you do get a good size set for your money, to be fair, and we'll look at some details in a moment. I'd just like to show you actually, I've just dug out my original N64 game that I got when I was a child, back in the late 90s when Ocarina of Time was released. So this is the actual game box here. So yeah, my favourite game of all time. So this was definitely the one I wanted to pick out of the 2 different Deku Trees. So let's take a good look at the set in detail. Before looking at the build in detail, I'd just like to mention there were quite a few bags left over, so 5 in total when you build the Ocarina of Time tree. So you see a whole variety of different pieces there in each bag, and they're all totally sealed. Never used any of these ones, and actually that's quite an interesting piece. That's like a Tesseract from the Marvel Universe, isn't that sort of transparent blue cube? Just see what else we've got here. Sort of all plant elements. You see even sort of print elements for sort of tree stumps you can use. And then these are quite a substantial pack, this with the sort of pink leaves and tree limb elements, and the light nugget leaves as well. So they've obviously been used to, as it's got different top, like the pink for the Breath of the Wild one, and obviously we ended up with green on this one, and then lots of other different tree limb elements there as well. So I guess you could actually put these into other builds, build like trees and things like that with them maybe, but it depends if you're a collector, you want to keep the things in order and keep your pieces together, or you're not worried about that sort of thing, so it's up to you. But for me, like it sort of bothers me a bit. I'll keep these in the bags, and then maybe in the future I could decide, because I don't think I'd ever sell it, to then use these in other builds. So let's have a look at the set itself. For a good place to start would be looking at the minifigures. So here's like Child Link, Young Link. It's got the wooden Deku shield, again all print pieces, looks good. And then you see he's got his green tunic on, and actually it's got a little piece here that sort of acts like a sort of little skirt of the tunic, and he's got the dual moulded legs. You see his little sort of legs poking out from the boots. And actually, interesting enough, the actual hat piece, and you see they've got the little ears like they have in the Zelda series on the side. So if I pop this off, you can see it's actually tri-moulded. So you've got yellow, the green, and the sort of light nugget as well. Coloration for these little flash tones. So it's quite advanced technique. So you've seen where the cost is sort of coming in for this set with all these prints and advanced sort of techniques. Then we've got the adult Link from the Ocarina of Time here. So he's got his ocarina, as you can see just there. So it's nice to have that sort of for the first time ever. And then he's got his tunic as well, and sort of dual moulded arms. And then we've also got the Link here from the Breath of the Wild. So really nice printed shield you'll see there. That looks really good. And if I just sort of move it slightly out of the way, you'll see his tunic more clearly. And there's this sort of, the turquoise colour, which quite pops, looks quite nice. And obviously the sort of pointed ears as well. And then here we have Zelda from the Breath of the Wild. And again, sort of pointed ears, nice sort of decorations printed on the front there. And she's carrying actually the Sheikah slate, you can see there, that's the sort of printed piece. So that was sort of used to sort of find shrines, I believe, in the game from what I can remember. And then if we just flip around the other side, you'll see the sort of details on the back. See the little caps, the little hats there, they've got a nice sort of angle there. And sort of all sorts of little print detailing on here. And actually Zelda, she's got some detailing hidden under her hair if I just take this off. There you go, there's their sort of print detailing and on the back. And then I've also reversed the sort of heads around so you can see the other faces as well that they've got. Link's really ready for action there, same for the adult Link for Ocarina of Time. And there's a quite happy looking Child Link. We also have a brick built character that comes in the set. This is called Hestu. So this is like a Korok from the Breath of the Wild game. And then you used to give him like these Korok seeds and he gives you stuff in return. And interesting enough, you see it's sort of build here. The maracas. Hopefully you can hear that. There you go, so you can see the maracas actually work. And inside, if I can try and one-handed while I'm filming, pop one off. There you go, I've popped off and you can see just like a little stud in there that makes noise. So there's quite a nice little detail. So that's Hestu then, and then just show you like, the leaf detailing on the top. And then that's just the back quite plain. So then the other mini build sort of was this little hut here. So this is Link's hut from the Ocarina of Time that Child Link lives in. And you see like you've got like a little ladder leading up to the hut itself, and this is like a little sort of cloth that you can pull back to sort of close the door of the hut really. It's an open back design, you've got a little railing sort of balcony at the front. And this sign here is again printed, and it's sort of like, the sort of Himalayan language in the Legend of Zelda, but always, sort of translates it through the game, so I'm not sure what that actually says there. And then here we've got the fairy Navi. So that's quite nice. You can actually change the colour of the dot to like yellow or red. They provide you one of each. And then that can be used to signify, different signs like warning signs, etc. That Navi needs to change colour in the game. So that's quite nice. You see Navi's on this sort of like transparent piece you can use to fly around.
Hey, listen!
So this is the back of that. You can just see just a little simple bed in there, nothing much else, a little bit of detail on the roof. And then down here is quite interesting. You've got like a sort of a crate full of little useful items that you come in the game. So you pop those out, you can see there's all sorts in there. It's quite nicely little made. Like you've got a hook shot here. And then we've got like say a compass in there, like a little bomb, sort of a red potion for healing, and I'm not sure what the green one is, but yeah, so quite a nice variety. And then I've also tucked in the Himalayan shield, very nice print detailing, like one of the key pieces in the set. I think looks spot on for how it does in the Ocarina of Time game. Onto the main build itself then. So you'll see at the front we've got this little add-on piece, And this does actually come off. You can just remove that. And in fact, this is sort of more accurate to the Breath of the Wild, whereas in Ocarina of Time you wouldn't have this sort of pedestal with the Master Sword on there, because it's sort of Master Sword are actually in the Temple of Time, so that's sort of inaccurate. But it does look good, so you can do what you want, can't you? Sort of your imagination. So you can just clip that on like so. And it's just held in by a few pins. So anyway, this pedestal is sort of like, you know, sort of the triangle design part of the Triforce. And then we've got like, you know, this sort of sword in the stone, which is the actual Master Sword. One of the, again, probably the most impressive piece maybe, because see the moulding on there looks really good. And sort of got this sort of pearlescent sort of effect to the actual sword itself. And here's a close-up of the sword out the pedestal, and you can see the detail on there. You've got even like this Triforce logo just in there. So impressive detail, looks really good. That's the swords back in the pedestal. So there are a few interesting other details dotted about, such as these, like say, mushrooms dotted around, and these sort of root vegetables, etc. So these plants, they're sort of details from the Breath of the Wild game, which you can use like to gather in the game to, like, you know, sort of cook different you know, food items to heal Link and give them sort of abilities. So yeah, good details there. So onto the main actual build itself, the actual Deku Tree. So if we just sort of dive in and look at the outside details first. And see again more of these plants. Then we've got these plants here, which are Deku Babbas. They're kind of like, you know, sort of Venus flytraps in World, maybe even like piranha plants in Mario. So they sort of attack Link. They sort of, you know, can snap down. You can move its mouth piece sort of there, and you can sort of move them about a bit. Sort of, they're quite flexible on like a sort of ball joint. So you can pose those in action shots. Good detail. And then we've got like sort of the roots of the trees going into like the water. More like plant life, as we talked about, you know, little stepping stones to actually get into the tree. This is a Deku sprout here with a cute little face, so that's sort of in the Ocarina of Time, that sort of gives Link a sort of history on his sort of background, I think, from what I can remember. There's another sort of Deku Baba. And then here we've got actually a gossip stone, you can see there, with again the nice printed tile. So Link can hit those with his sword, and then they just sort of give advice, you know, in the game. So good to get one of those brick built as well. And then here's the actual tree itself then. So you can see the face. I think it looks, you know, quite good. It's more sort of blocky because the N64 is, you know, sort of like the graphics of the late 90s were maybe more simple, but I think it looks quite good. And it sort of looks, I prefer this look to the Breath of the Wild one. You can see like got the eyes in there. And I think that the eyes were actually made with like a sort of a hat piece. If I just move that there, that you can put on top of a minifigure. So that's quite interesting. You can actually angle sort of slightly the eyebrows. He's got like sort of kind of like a moustache, hasn't he? And then that's the mouth there. And then just on top, you see all these sort of different leaf elements here. So these little bigger leaves, and then sort of the darker green. I think they call it earth green in LEGO. Normal sort of like side leaves. And these plant bits. So it looks quite a reasonable, like, dense foliage they've put on here. And then they are sort of movable, so you can move them about and try and you know, fill out the space as best you can. You see there on the different sort of limb elements there. And so I think that looks really good. And then obviously one of the key features we might have mentioned earlier, if I just go around the back here, so I can actually pull a sort of lever and the mouth just open, and then Link can enter, and then this is like the first dungeon in the game really. There you go, so it's quite a smooth action. Like so. Then spin around to the back, it's maybe a bit more basic, like the sort of top side. It's just you know, sort of it's more of an open back step, so you can see the sort of back of the you know, leaf elements. And then we've got like a little web here, just you know, there's a little detail which you know, have these skulltulas in the game, which are kind of like spiders. And speaking of those, you might see one in a moment. So this is how the mechanism works. It just sort of slides across. You can see, just very smooth. Like so, it's quite a nice little detail. You've got like little sort of lanterns that sort of light inside the Deku Tree, so you can see where you're going in the game, and then like sort of different plant life coming down. And then obviously we've got like different treasure chests that Link can get different treasures in the game. So in this one actually is a nice detail. It's got the hook shot, which was actually the first you know, sort of extra sort of weapon you get from a dungeon in the game. So that's a spot on detail that the LEGO designers put in. That's dual molded, you'll see as well, with like the sort of the rubberized sort of elastic part at the top in a different colour. So that looks good as well. The final feature is actually to do with this sort of gear here. I've had problems with this. I've tried taking it apart and put it back together, so it's a bit sort of finicky. So you should press this and it drops down, but it doesn't. So if I just do it manually, you'll see here, there you go, you got your skulltula there. It's kind of like a spider-like type creature. And you see a nice printed face. and you see the 8 limbs on it, and it's sort of more basic on the back. But yeah, this should drop down when you press this. It just doesn't really, then you can sort of wind it up again. If I turn the gear, then yeah, it just doesn't drop down. So it should, like, if I just spin it, it should just drop down like that. But I just can't get it to go properly. I think it's maybe a slight design issue. I've tried all sorts of things, and it just doesn't wind up and go down smoothly, unfortunately. So I think the set looks really, really good overall. So the Nintendo, obviously in their collaboration with LEGO, only insisted on, the highest quality, which they have delivered on here. Such as, say the minifigures, they look absolutely spot on. I've never actually seen the, sort of tri-molding technique used before, so, really advanced now, and just looks really good. And then obviously all print pieces and, highly detailed, so you can't argue with that, can you? So that looks great. And then also even using some elements, they're exclusively new molds. So they have really gone out, and it looks absolutely fantastic, all come together. And, as we mentioned, we've got lots of details sprinkled around. We saw some of those. And there's probably even more, actually. I've not seen the Breath of the Wild set, so I have to flip through the manual and have a look at some of those. And then actually speaking about, the sort of two sets, so it was interesting that LEGO picked, like a 2-in-1 to go for this. So obviously you can pick the one you like the look of the most, and then maybe like for nostalgia as well. So I grew up with Ocarina of Time as a child, so this sort of set has sort of more of a thing for me, so I went for that, whereas other people might have grown up with Breath of the Wild. But for like the casual fan, it might be a bit of a problem, because say for this set I had 5 bags left over, and then so that's sort of kind of a waste of money in a way if you just have 5 bags that you're never going to really use. I suppose what LEGO intend is you actually at some point dismantle the set and then rebuild it again with the other pieces, so you get more fun from building and get to see the other set. But for me, I'm probably not going to do that, because I'm going to incorporate this set into a later build, another build, and then I just really like this set more than the other one, to be honest. I suppose like hardcore LEGO fans, they might utilise the pieces in another build, so it's less of a problem. But just something worth considering. And that sort of leads on to the price, actually. So as we've mentioned, the price per piece ratio is quite high for an average LEGO set, but you have got the license, and you've seen they've got all the sort of the high quality prints and pieces, etc. So, and it's reasonable size, so I think it is worth it. But probably best maybe wait for like double insider points, and maybe a good gift with purchase to go along with it. And then I think it's exclusive to Lego.com and the Lego store at the moment, but this set I believe may go in the future to like another store. And so at that point, if it's been out for a while, you might get a reasonable discount on it then. So maybe something to look out for, and wait for the right time to purchase the set if you're not absolutely desperate to get it early on. But overall, yeah, very nice set. And what I plan to do with it actually is incorporate into some of my builds in the Lego City. Some of you may know I've got it in the loft that I've started, and I think it might go well with sort of the castle medieval theme. So that's something to look out for. So if you're interested in that and more of my videos, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be very much appreciated. So yeah, look out for some more content in the future, and hope to see you again next time. Bye.